Let's talk about that and more with our leadoff panel tonight and StoneX Group Chief Strategist Kathryn Rooney Vera. Thank you. You got a lot of red on the screen for a green day here. I just want to throw that out there, by the way. Kathryn, you say this is what you call, quote, weaponized FOMO, fear of missing out. What do you mean by that?
Yes, and that's the buzzword that's going around now, not coined by me, but it does make sense when you have, Brian, everything flying. You know, you have emerging markets, you have any risk asset really catching a bid across the board, and there's this indiscriminate buying. So I would be very, very cautious to those who say, you know, pursue the stellar high flyers of 2023 because they're going to continue in 2024. I'm more hesitant. I think the best trade right now, with the VIX being as low as it is to buy protection, very cheap. It's kind of like life insurance, you know? You may not need to use it. Hopefully you don't. But if you have it and you've locked it in pretty cheap, you're very grateful that you did.
Those things to buy, Kathryn, the small caps, because people have been buying them up, but only the last couple of weeks. They literally completely ignored the small caps for about 2 years, and suddenly they're winning the beauty pageant.
It makes sense, Brian, if you're going to play the broadening out trade. You know, as Mark correctly mentioned, that, you know, this was an AI-driven boom for 2023. So going into next year, if you're going to play the broadening out trade and you're operating under the assumption that perfect landing or soft landing is going to happen, is in fact currently happening, which, you know, I can buy, then that's the trade. The trade is industrials, it's materials, it's energy, it's small caps. But I think the issue is we're going to come into, you know, potential for reacceleration of inflation if everything goes as planned. So I'm slightly more cautious. I do think that there's a good chance, Mark, that the Fed does start cutting. I really wonder how much politics comes into play. I've heard other pundits say they could go as soon as March. March seems premature, but maybe, so that they can get as far away from the election as humanly possible. But I still think that the first cut would probably come in June of the next year. The risk, of course, and it's a rarity where the Federal Reserve cuts so close to an election in a presidential election year. So there's a lot of unknowns here.
By the way, people think, oh, if you mention the Fed and politics in the same sentence, you must be putting your tinfoil hat on, break out the Reynolds wrap. No, Congressman Ro Khanna, who's been on the show many times, very rational guy. Go look at some of his tweets recently. He's talking about Jay Powell. He's talking about how Powell screwed it up. He's talking about things like the election, all in the same sentence. So I don't think you need to have the tinfoil hat on there. But what if they don't, Kathryn, what if they don't cut? What if the Fed doesn't cut or repivots back the other way? Does the market fall 10% just like it gained 10%?
It's likely the Fed cuts next year. The question will be why. Under the expectation that the Fed cuts because inflation continues to move lower despite, and recession does not occur. Equities boom. I think they go up another 10% because all of that money that's in cash and in money markets goes into equities. If the Fed cuts because we're in recession, and there's a lot of tailwinds that are going to become headwinds. You know, we have real rates that are positive. We have student loan repayments. We've got the labor market rolling over. So I think there are headwinds here. But if we do get a recession and yields come down because of recession, Brian, equities do very poorly.
Kathryn Rooney Vera, Happy New Year, Kathryn. I'll see you in Miami January 4th for our live Miami show. It's going to be great.
It'll be awesome.
All right.